It's UPBOptionMillionaires.com. It's Thursday, November 3rd, 2016, just a couple trading days away from the election. And S&P 500 futures are moving off the lows. We're down over 30%. That was, seventh or eighth inning last night of the World Series. Recovered those losses. The Chicago Cubs won. And you can see this nice bull flag heading into the opening bell. We're about 10 minutes away. Recovering a lot of the losses we saw late in the trading session. And then after the bell, Facebook reported earnings. The initial reaction was down, but then we recovered those losses. Facebook was even and then plummeted to about 117. Pretty nasty move for Facebook. But again, the overnight hours, after we hit our lows, we've recovered those losses. Looks like we're going to break out. But again, this 2100 level acted as support previously back in September when we hit our lows. Now acting as resistance. We broke below it with vigor yesterday. Can we get back above it? Something to keep an eye on, again, is the IWM, the small caps. And that was the leader to the downside last week. We started to pull back for the IWM well before the market. And now this morning, IWM leading the market higher. We'll see if that's something that's going to help the S&P 500 futures break over that 2100 level. Also watch the VIX. I pointed this out last week. We broke out of this beatdown point for the VIX. If you just look over the last 6 months, you can see you draw a trend line across from the previous highs, the Brexit high, the September high that got us to 2100 on the S&P 500 futures before we started to rally. Well, this time around, we have broken out of that trend to the upside, which is certainly not something you want to see if you're long this market. Is it just a point of resistance here now at the 20 level? That's something to keep an eye on. But the VIX breaking out to the upside, certainly not a bullish development for the market. If you look, though, at the 30 level, and you can go back to the start of this year, that 30 level, and even go back a couple years ago, that 30 level has really been a point of interest. So if we do break out to the upside over this 20 level, which is right about where we are now, you look at 30 for the VIX as a point of interest as far as where to get long this market. IWM, something to watch here this morning. Facebook. Now, I talked about this at the start of the week, posted a chart up and go to StockTwits. I've been posting this for quite a while. This trend line here for Facebook, the trend had been the friend, broke away from it. And you can see it actually got to about the 117 level after hours yesterday. Is that something that's going to come down to KISS to kind of reset this chart for another move up to record highs for Facebook? Or we've already seen the lows. Needless to say, the trend for Facebook remains to the upside. Some stocks that were pulling back, you look at the rest of FANG. Google was down to 785 yesterday. Look at this chart. We tried to break out of this flag. Google came down to support on this wonderful bull flag that looked like it was going to resolve up to record highs, which it did, but up into the 1,000 level. Came down to support here, and you could look after the bell yesterday, got down to that just about 775 level. Also Amazon, after hitting record highs, pulling back, and this is a chart to really keep an eye on here because Amazon has broken support here. We're down at 775 level. The next level of support is really about the 700 level, which is what it saw that it could not break above at the end of 2015, which led to breaking it under 500. Yes, Amazon was under $500 at the first 2 months of 2016 before rallying significantly. So we've seen some big swings, especially to the downside. And you can look at Amazon pretty much all of 2015, a nice steady move to the upside, and then in a span of a couple months, loses about 30% of that move. Is that what we're setting up for Amazon? Certainly something to keep an eye on with Amazon and then the small caps, which really, if you just look over a short-term time frame and then look at the resistance here that was broken, if you just look over the last 20 days, look at really where the selling started just at the start of the month. We're up near the 125 level, and especially last week really started in earnest this pullback that has seen pretty much nary a bounce. Got down to the 115 level. This morning, IWM, we're up over 116. Actually, right now we're about 7 minutes before the opening bell, and IWM is just about at the 16 level. Also, we'll keep an eye on the VXX, which has intraday been pretty much every day started the day higher and continued to grind higher. Is this some sort of a flagging pattern? I know the VXX, as far as a long-term, something that you're going to trade long-term, has not worked out so well. You can see this, if you adjust it for splits, $31,000 to $35. I mean, that's the short of the century. But if you look intraday, usually a good indicator of where the market's going to head. And each of the days that we've seen, recently we've seen an uptick in the VIX to start the trading session, up, up, up. And the market, in response, sometimes we get a bounce for the S&P 500, but overall, it's been like a lead weight around the market's neck, and the VXX has pretty much been a good indicator of where the market is going to head on any particular trading session. If we see the market up and the VXX up, usually the market will pull back. And if we see the market down and the VXX down, usually the market will come back. So keep an eye on the VXX, which This morning is actually down a little bit, so we're going to see. This is one of the first mornings in a while that we'll see the VXX lower. S&P 500 futures are up a little bit. The market's setting up. We got some earnings reports after the closing bell. GoPro. This is going to be something to keep an eye on because when Fitbit came out with earnings yesterday, it dropped 30% from 12 and change to $9. You can see GoPro here. This is going to be another big mover. GoPro on the heels of the Fitbit release actually dropped some 4 or 5% after hours under $12. So GoPro could be one that heads back to the May levels of $9, which would be a $3.50 move, or is it going to blast above this to $15.50, $16? This might be a good straddle play for earnings tonight. GoPro. All right, UPB, the market's going to open here in a couple minutes. As I'll see in the chat room at optionmillionaires.com. So let's watch the IWM. We'll watch the VXX intraday. And also watch that 2100 level on S&P 500 futures. We are right about at that level there, 5 points away. We got almost up to it this morning before pulling back. You can see the action chopping around here. Is this a bull flag? We're going to blast above 2100 when the bell rings in a couple minutes. All right, UPBOptionMillionaires.com. Everyone have a great trading session. Congratulations, Cub fans. Apparently there's a lot of Cub fans because I didn't know that until they won the World Series and suddenly everybody's a Cub fan. Amazing how that works. All right, take care.